right. Welcome everyone to the Ginette Biro Podcast. Thank you so much as always for joining me on the show. I'm so grateful to be here sharing this space with you all. And I got to tell you, today we have an urgent message from Spirit. Now, this isn't urgent as in like dangerous emergency, but they brought it through with urgency. And they said, can you emphasize how important this is right now? Can you please remind people how valuable this is in a very timely manner? And so, I had my own plan of which podcasts I would release at what time according to Ginette's schedule. But as always, I will always honor when Spirit brings something through with, if they're saying, hey, put this to the top of the list, then sure, absolutely. And that is what I'm doing today. So this is a very important message from Spirit at this time. And please know that if you're listening to this at a later date, then there is a divine timing to that for you. So it's not like you missed the boat or anything like that. This lands and finds the ears that need it at the appropriate time. I really believe that. And I believe that to be true for all of us. So for the moment in which you are listening to this, and there's a lot of you that tune in regularly, and I love that, Spirit is talking about conscious living and the vibrational match of that, and how absolutely important that is right now as we move into the energies of the fall. Conscious living is, they're saying, the healthy changes that you are meaning to make, that you're wanting to make, that you are starting to make, they're saying those are imperative right now. So imperative because they have a direct correlation with the vibrations you are putting out to the universe, with the vibrational match. You are sending out these signals by your frequency that are bringing forward experiences. And they're saying one of the things that we need to realize is how potent our frequency is now with the universe, how our level of consciousness is such that our thoughts are huge manifestors of our reality. And we've all known that. We've been working with that idea. That's not a new theme, but they're saying it's almost like our thoughts and frequencies, by the amount of people in the collective that have been awakening, are now amplified. So if maybe we were working at a level, say 5 out of 10 before of manifestation ability, we are now at like a 7, 8 out of 10. So we have just upped our ability to manifest, to create our realities. And it is directly correlated with how consciously we are living. Now, one of the things I really want to stress on that conscious living thing, that does not mean you have to do it perfectly. It's not about, making healthy changes and having to stick with them 100%, never failing. And if you fail, you lost it, you're out. It's about your intent to keep trying, keep getting back up, sustaining as you can, adjusting where needed, and then also allowing yourself the break. That's one thing that Spirit reminds me often too, is like, Ginette, it's okay to take a break. It's okay to have downtime. And I find I'm a lot better at that now, but it took me a number of years to kind of fall into that flow, because I would find before, because I had this gift with Spirit, I felt I should, and there's that word, I should be open to it all the time, be receiving and passing on messages all the time, be at the whim of Spirit. And what that did was it neglected my 3D life. It would wear me down. And there's a ton of people that when they open, especially to Spirit communication, they get very worn out because there is a give and receive of energy. But if we're not receiving, meaning having that downtime, that off-duty time, we are not consciously living. We're not consciously valuing our own human self in the process. So that's just my example for context of, some big energy drains. But for others, it can be the foods that they're putting in their body. It can be the news that they're consuming. We've talked a lot about that. And there are so many, fear narratives right now that, fear narratives right now that are really at play, that if we're not conscious of what we're ingesting or what we need to do to recalibrate after ingesting that information, that knowledge, it can really wear us down and decrease our frequency, decrease our vibration, and therefore affect the energies of what we are trying to bring into our life. And I've really noticed that even for myself too. It's really being choosy. Now is a time to be choosy. So again, choosy with what you take in mentally, with what you take into your physical body, with the relationships you have. How much can you give? How much or where do you need to receive? Because some of us don't receive very well. To really help reinforce and increase the vibrational capacity of your frequency. Some of us will vibrate really close to ourselves, to our physical body. Others of us can push that vibration out, or even just not even push it, but just naturally be vibrating bigger, right? It runs farther through your auric field. And that has a direct correlation. So right now, Spirit is saying readjust, reassess, notice what's coming up for you, because conscious living has a direct correlation on the vibrations you're creating and what will vibrationally match you. Okay. And again, this is not to instill a fear or anything or feeling of like, you're not doing enough. It's more like, hey, where are you doing too much? Maybe where can you refine something and change it, shift it, ponder it, explore it? That's another thing. And that leads me to my point of perfection, because they have three main points about this and how to really pull it in. And one of those points is perfectionism. And again, like I was saying, sometimes we think we need to know how to do something or have it figured out perfectly, and that's it. And there it is, it's implemented, done. But we don't realize the amount of ebb and flow in our lives, ebb and flow in our emotions, our experiences, our triggers, our traumas, all of that. The ebb and flow will change what we can give, where we can receive, when we are needing more help, when we can give more help. All of that kind of stuff is all a part of, undoing that preconceived idea that we need to be perfect. And one thing that I've really learned about this idea of perfectionism is, we may think on certain layers we've detached that from ourselves, but there are so many layers to who we are and why we are the way we are, that maybe for some, you've really removed that idea of needing to be perfect in your job and this and that. But there's deep layers of old narratives of self around doing things perfect, not failing, whatever that may be, that then have room to surface. And you can look at the root of where did that come from? And is that actually real? Is that in a vibrational match with who I am today and where I'm going? Most likely not. Most likely that is a big no. So notice where your standards need to be adjusted. At the same time, notice where your standards need to be reinforced, because it is also good to have personal standards. It is a value, definite value. So just pay attention to where is there a theme of perfectionism coming into your world? What is that looking like? And how can you shift and change it? Because let's go back to the root of human lifetime, right? From Spirit, we have heard time and time again of the value of a human life, how important our human experience is. We gain so much, we learn so much, but we learn through triumphs and pitfalls. We don't learn through being perfect. In fact, when we are trying to be perfect, we're actually blocking our progress because we're blocking some really valuable experiences. So when we realize that, sometimes that can help us hold a greater space, a greater container for other people to maneuver through their journey in, either undoing perfection or raising their standards or changing their standards, as well as holding space in a container for us to do that for ourselves. Because we're all here trying to learn and grow and maneuver and experience and share. And this old narrative of perfectionism is really just so outdated. We should honor the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs, the triumphs and pitfalls. When someone makes a mistake, if they are truly sorry and express that and express how they're going to do something differently, it doesn't mean you have to automatically forgive. There could be some real depth to it, but in some cases, it might be something simple that you can look at them and be like, wow, yeah, they sure did learn. And look how amazing it was that they could come back and tell me what they learned. And look at what I observe from them now and what they learned from that moment. Wow, was that ever pivotal? And so sometimes we actually think it's easier to forgive or hold that container for others. And it's so much harder to hold that container for self. So notice if you notice one of those containers is harder for you to get in and find peace in, notice which one that is. Because again, that has a direct effect on the vibrations you're putting out into the world. And with all of the change and the movement energy that we have with this fall, vibration and consciousness is key. Conscious choice, like we've been talking about. Now, the next thing is many of us will be experiencing throughout this fall, but really coming in right now, this purging process of emotional discomfort that is disturbing your inner peace. And this is really big for a lot of people who have been awakening already and have been doing the work and have been digging in, is they feel like, well, I've already looked at that. I've already done that. I've already cleared that. Why is this coming up for me? And again, it's because to get a bigger expansion of vibration for your frequency to reach farther, create bigger ripples, you have to go down into the layers. So every time you heal, clean, clear, shift a layer of self, your frequency can expand even more. That's a really cool thing. But also kind of frustrating when sometimes, like I said, we feel we've gone through something, we have moved through it, and it's coming back again, and we're having to, go through the experience of feeling disrupted and triggered and all of that and think, gosh, why? Why do I have to look into this? It's because you're going deeper to increase your frequency. So take all the skills that you have in how you dive in how you explore, in how you maneuver your consciousness, take those skills and apply them to this new layer. Just think of it, this is a new layer for me to have bigger frequency. And again, that bigger frequency helps you manifest more. It helps you reach more simply through your energy, the right alignments, the right people, the right connections, whatever that may be, the right partner. It allows you to have a bigger effect. So the purging process, when we kind of get on board with it, when we, walk hand in hand with it rather than being dragged through it, when we walk hand in hand, we are taking equal accountability and partnership in the experience. And in that case, we actually get to sometimes decrease the intensity of what it is. Because when we're having to be dragged, we're going to be going to a certain destination. But if you're being dragged, you're going to get cuts and scrapes along the way because you're being dragged. Whereas if you walk hand in hand, you're not going to get those cuts and scrapes. And you may actually even get there faster because you're walking of your own volition, right? So something to consider. And then the other thing Spirit wanted to say, which I thought was just so lovely to pull this all together, was as we're maneuvering through those things, is remember that even when in the purging process, even when adjusting frequencies, trying our best to live consciously, succeeding and then tripping up and falling and getting back up again, in every single one of those experiences, know that you are worthy. You are always worthy. You are always worthy of becoming your best self. You are always worthy of becoming the highest frequency possible for your incarnation. And every time you trip and fall and you stumble, you screw up, you have to go back to the start, you have to reassess. Every time you do that authentically, vulnerably, and willingly, you become so much stronger in self, but also so much more of a beautiful teacher for other people because you're willing to talk about what you've been through. You're willing to stand in your truth and your embodiment and say, hey, you know what? I understand what you're going through because I went through something similar. I hold space for you to be where you are right now. And maybe I can be an example that you can get through it. That's a powerful place to be. And you are always worthy because every situation you're going through is giving you an opportunity to learn and grow. And when we do that, we can hold space for other people. And just as the same goes for when you're in that spot where you're struggling or whatever, and you reach out to somebody for help, you are worthy to ask for that help. You matter. You matter enough to ask for that help and have someone hold a container for you to grow and expand. You're equally worthy in this give and receive. And when we really realize that, and we, again, kick out that perfectionism, realize we're worthy when we are, flying high, and when we're way down low, or when we're, stumbling around in the fog, not quite knowing which way we're going, we are always worthy in every moment to be authentically who we are, to give help, and to receive help. We are always worthy. And so Spirit really wanted me to share that with you all in hopes that this would help kind of take some of the pressure off what may be running through many of your minds based on all the things happening in the energies. The energies right now are very, very strong. They are very forward moving. They are triggering and mirroring. So there's lots of mirroring happening too. And this is all a part of helping us just increase our vibrational frequency. And so for some of you, you may listen to this podcast and be like, yeah, oh my gosh, I am completely in that 100%. And others of you might feel like, yeah, you know what? I felt a little bit of that on Tuesday and a little bit on Friday, but I'm feeling like I'm coming out. I'm in my frequency. Great. So just consider where you are, and where you are is exactly where you need to be. And from this exact moment of listening to this, you get to choose where you are going. So really be on top of your conscious choice, how you are consciously living through your day, to really align with the frequency and the vibrational match you want to put out. Because again, I am just over and over getting that we are going to see a lot of things coming to fruition. Spirit is right about to make things match, make things align, make things fall into place. And so frequency is the biggest key with that. So what a great message. I don't know about you, but I feel really realigned in that as well. So how great is that? So I hope that helps inspire you guys this week. I hope it brings, some peace of mind, some feeling of understanding, and that you're not alone, and we're all moving through stuff and shifting and changing and growing and fumbling and thriving. It's all in it. It's all part of the experience of being human. So let's rock this experience of being human. I love it. All right, everyone, I will leave you with that. Have a beautiful rest of your week. Please do check out avalonspirit.com if you are wanting to dive into your journey a little bit more. We have different personal journey guides on there, from astrology to spiritual hypnosis to Akashic records, plus the different mediums we have, healing energy, energy clearing, animal communication. There are many avenues to help you discover you. So if that feels aligned, check it out, avalonspirit.com. And I will see you guys again next week. Have an amazing week.